you have any, oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. I was just gonna say, put a white strip down, you know, it doesn't have to be a red reflector, just a nice little white strip.
Do we have any other comments or questions from the audience? No? All right. Any recommendations you would like to move forward on? Not so.
I'd like to recommend that Laurie's matrix be included in our package. Are all of these presentations included in the package that'll go forward, or?
Well,
We'll probably have it Saturday for backup.
Yeah.
But
I love that. I love our matrix.
but one of the things too, though, if you want to follow what we have done with the rest of the other projects, is it looks like you have about 3 decision things to make here.
Roll.
Yeah, going with the number one, the existing standards, which is the wood fence that we currently have. Laurie, if I look at this on a 30-year basis, I will subtract out the cost you have put in for year 31, because that takes you from year 31 to 40 years.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying. And so that actually will be about $6 million for the first 30 years.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so the one decision we gotta make is to adopt that, and then that $6 million divided by 30, I don't know what that is, to do the trials that we currently have. And
did you get your
then,
calculator?
200.
and then the other decision you have to make is whether you need to install this backyard trial fencing or not. And then there is the other point that is install fencing on trials without fencing. So it's like 3 recommendations in there that you got make a decision on. And
Are you talking about you want the ad hoc committee to make a recommendation to go to council based on this matrix?
that's correct. Similar to what we've done with the streets.
So with streets, we had made a recommendation at this point that we do feel that we need $2 million a year to not just maintain our streets, but to move them up to a higher level. So we had done, streets is $2 million. Parks, we were recommending $433,000 a year. And that we had
We're
not
just dealing with fencing.
tonight we're just dealing
Trails.
with trails, but that also includes that would be another recommendation would be to not just trails, but also DG. So fencing,
And
and we don't have any.
Andy did say
I
take out the
I
fourth
really
column.
don't want
I'm
to
sorry,
move forward
You
on.
did say take out the fourth column.
Yeah.
yes, you would take out that for column.
Yeah, so
because
that
that's-
reduces the
Right,
cost by 2
Right.
million.
Because we're not, it's not.
Yeah.
And do-
I don't think that we can move forward on DG until we get more.
Right.
You know, I'm just talking for now about the trials.
Okay.
Yeah, yes.
Did you do your calculation?
Yeah, 200.
No, it's, 2 million.
2 million.
It's 8
It's about a third.
Oh, I see.
So you're just subtracting out 1 year so that it's 30 years.
0.3.
They're calculating.
Yeah, 211,000 annually. 211.
Would replace all the shelf fencing throughout this.
211 annually. Would replace all the drop fencing.
You'd be doing so much per year.
And then we need a cost for the DG,
The legal cost.
That's correct.
cost for the DG and the labor.
Yeah,
That's correct.
I will add the legal cost.
for the-
Are you taking into consideration if you change over to the white fencing, you're gonna have to demolish everything as you go? If you're taking out the wood fence to replace it with the white fence,
Yeah, demolishing it.
so you're gonna have patches of white fence next to patches of wood fence?
For a while. We have that now.
That decision hasn't been
Sounds like Sanford and Son
Well,
to
and
me.
we're not recommending that we replace all of the fencing with white rail fencing, correct? The recommendation that we're looking at right now is just replacing
It's current civil
Correct.
standards.
under current standards. So what we could possibly be recommending tonight would be replacing, we know that we need to replace our current fencing, and if we maintain it at the standard that the city has already set, then it would be $211,000 annually. And that would be not replacing all of it in 1 year, correct? That would
You
just be-
can't do that until you get the cost of the DG and the lake.
I've seen the wood last a lot longer than 10 years in some cases though.
Yeah.
In some cases,
And-
it lasts about a
Better than
month.
it sits on it.
Yeah.
Well, and the problem with an overall recommendation is that it has to go to city council, and then it would have to go to streets and trails if you were gonna try and actually make a change in the standard for the trails that we already have. So this committee cannot
With a minute.
make a specific change in the code as it stands. So we can only either recommend one or the other, or we can recommend that we do the $211,000 annually, but under the stipulation, because we really like some of the information in this report, that it go back to city council and possibly, probably, most likely to streets and trails to make a consideration that they change the current standard, which would then, they would have to, which they have done in the past, they have already gone over a lot of these things that has come to city council and been turned down, but at this stage in the game, it's possible that city council members currently would maybe like to see a change that would save us money and increase the longevity of the fencing. So this is actually a longer process than what this ad hoc committee can do tonight. Does that make sense?
Did the cost of the white fencing used to be a lot more expensive? Was it?
I don't know, I gotta remember.
When it first came out, you remember there wasn't a lot, but now it's a real standard in manufacturing. And so the more you're building production-wise, you're gonna bring costs
That's what I
down.
was thinking, it used to be more expensive, right?
Right,
$12 or $13.
Per year.
yeah. So it cost a lot more when I put it in my yard, so, but that was quite a few years ago. So does anyone want to make a recommendation? And we again are looking at the current city standard. If we were to replace all trail fencing, it would be $211,000 annually for 30 years. And this is only fencing, not DG.
Okay. We moved forward with streets without a real accurate determination of what the total cost is going to be, because that was not, we had to add on the personnel and all, which in all truth is going to cost 30% more than what we approved. And I would like to get definite amounts here before I move forward. I'd like to know exactly what the DG is going to be. We now know that it'd be $211,000 a year for the fencing, but let's get it all tied up in one nice package with a bow on it and know exactly what we're.
You're not gonna know today.
I know that.
No, but she's saying.
Plus, I think it might help if you didn't go to the 30 years. Everything that we're doing is on a 20-year cycle.
Yeah.
So it needs to drop back from 30 to 20.
There you go.
I'm intrigued with what Ted said about the idea that really you're filling 8 feet.
Mhm.
And that's a sizable difference. Some places probably only 6 feet.
Yeah. So let's just not
You're
rush
talking
project.
like when you're not rutting. You're not
Go
going,
ahead.
yeah, but I mean, that's right, but the rutting might be 8 inches deep. So that's why I mean, it's so, there's so many variables out there, so you have to kind of balance it.
Just, it's interesting though, because like on Headley, I don't know if I'm allowed to, but I go through with my tractor, and we literally rake back the DG in front of my place,